Hello again. I'm here to tell you about your 32-day commitment activity that's assigned in this module. This activity has been a favorite among my students. They have reported that after engaging in this activity, they have really increased their belief in their potential, they've increased their self-motivation, and they have become more keenly aware of some of the time management issues that they've been experiencing. So what you're asked to do in this module is to plan out a 32-day commitment. You don't have to complete all 32 days, you just have to do the steps to plan it and get ready for it. So the two files that we're going to be using are the 32-day commitment planning and the 32-day commitment form. So let me walk you through those files so you'll know what to do on your assignment. So the first is the 32-day commitment planning file. This file is something that you can open up and just type right into it. You don't have to recreate the file, and this is what it should look like. The first step is for you to really brainstorm and spend some time in self-reflection thinking about your big dream. What is it that you expect to achieve and accomplish in your lifetime? For this example, this student has written that their big dream is to become a high school math teacher. So the next step, step 2, is to list out and brainstorm long-term goals that are going to help you reach your dream. In this example, the student has listed 3 things. First, the student will earn an AST in mathematics by a certain time frame. Later, the student will earn the bachelor's degree in mathematics by the next time frame, and then finally complete the single subject teaching credential by a certain time frame. Goals need to be things that are achievable, and they have to have deadlines. If they don't have deadlines, then you won't know if you're on course or off course towards reaching that goal. And also a little note about deadlines, they have to be realistic. So if it's not possible for you to attend school full time and really get a degree done by a certain time frame, if it's going to take you a little longer, then be realistic with your timelines. That way you don't feel frustrated or feel like you're not reaching your goals. So the third step is to list out and brainstorm some short-term goals to reach this dream. So this person has listed these goals here: passing all of my classes this semester with a B or better, meeting with a counselor and with transfer services at least once per semester, and interviewing a high school teacher by December 2020. Short-term goals are goals that will be achieved in the next week, in the next month, in a year, in 2 years. So they're those baby steps that need to happen in order for you to reach your long-term goals and eventually your dream. So the next step is the student will select one of the short-term goals to focus on for this activity, for this 32-day commitment. And the short-term goal that the student has chosen is this one: passing all of my classes this semester with a B or better. So the big piece to the 32-day commitment is this section right here: actions I could take in order to reach the goals that I have, or in particular this goal that I'm focusing on right now. Actions here are really important for you to think about. Actions are something that are verifiable. So think of it this way: if someone spent all day video recording you and video recording everything you did and said, at the end of the day, would we be able to look at that little piece of the film that shows you completed that action or not, right? It has to be something that's verifiable that you actually did. So the brainstorm that this student came up with in terms of actions that will help them pass all their classes this semester with a B or better are these 3. The student would be on target towards this goal if every single day they, 1, read an article about the teaching profession, 2, solved at least 5 math problems per day, or 3, reviewed and studied the notes from each of the classes for 30 minutes. And remember, every day means every single day, Sunday through Saturday. It's days when you have school and days when you don't have school. Even if there's a holiday, that's still considered part of every day. So the action that you pick has to be something you can do every day. I have had students say that they're going to do well on tests. That is an action, but it can't be done every day because they don't have a test every single day. So make sure you pick something that you know you can do every single day. So the final step is to pick the action that you are actually going to commit to for the next 32 days. In this example, the student is going to solve at least 5 math problems per day for the next 32 days. So that means that even if the student has finished all their homework problem assignments for the week, they're going to pick up 5 more problems every single day so that they're actively working on the skills that are important to them. And the final piece is to make this statement: because I believe the following commitment will help me achieve more of my desired outcomes and experiences, I promise that every day for the next 32 days, I will, and this student put, solve at least 5 math problems. So the assignment for this module is just to do this planning piece. And then the activity, the actual 32-day commitment, is something that you'll continue to work on after you've submitted this assignment. So I'm going to read this statement that's on the 32-day commitment form up here because it's really important. As we make and keep commitments, even small commitments, we begin to establish an inner integrity that gives us the awareness of self-control and the courage and strength to accept more of the responsibility for our own lives. By making and keeping promises to ourselves and others, little by little, our honor becomes greater than our moves. And that's the really important part of this 32-day commitment activity. It's committing to something that's so important to you that even on bad days, even on days when you're super tired and you feel like there's no time to squeeze in even the smallest activity, you're still going to stick to your commitment because it's so important to you and you know it's going to help you reach your dream. So on the 32-day commitment form, you're going to fill in the action that you've selected, and then you're going to pick a date to actually start your 32-day commitment. In the example here, the date is listed, and that's what you'll do on each of these areas here. You're going to pick a day to start your commitment and fill in every date all the way until you get down to the 32 days. Starting a 32-day commitment is a big deal because it's asking you to establish a new habit. And so you want to pick a good day to start your 32-day commitment. You might not be ready to start it today or tomorrow. You might want to wait until the beginning of the week. So you pick the day that you want to start your 32-day commitment. And then what you need to do, what's super important, is you need to remind yourself of it every single day. So this 32-day commitment form needs to go somewhere in your house. You need to physically print it out and put it somewhere in your house where you're going to see it every day. Maybe on your nightstand, on your bathroom mirror, on your refrigerator, just somewhere where you'll be reminded in the beginning of the day of your commitment so you don't forget to do it. And you'll be reminded at the end of the day to check off whether or not you did that action. Okay. The final statement down here says that the reason it's 32 days long is because that's the time that some behavioral psychologists believe it's necessary for you to create a new habit or extinguish an old one. So if you miss a day, you need to start over from day one. It's kind of like quitting smoking. If someone's trying to quit smoking and they're on a really great streak for 2 weeks, but then they have one day where they do decide to smoke, then they haven't established that new habit. They went back to an old habit and they need to start over. Okay, so that's the way the 32-day commitment activity will work. But remember that for this module, all you're doing is planning it out. Okay. So as always, if you have questions, please connect with me, but don't wait till the last minute. So until next time, take care.